Saturday night's main event is going to be the biggest PLE of 2024, and here's all of my predictions for it. So for this show, we have 4 pretty big matches in one last-second edition, but I believe we're going to have another last-second edition, or maybe even 2. So there's no way you're showing Roman Reigns on that poster, and you're not going to have Roman vs. Solo for the Ulafala. I believe it happens now at Saturday night's main event, and we move on from this so we can move on to Roman vs. Rock. And I'm not saying to end this because it's been a bad story by any means. I think it's actually been pretty good. I just also look at it like Roman has 2 pins now on Solo. When is he going to get that dang Ulafala match? Because he's well beyond deserving it. Now, sure, you could have it happen at the Netflix show, but I think something a bit bigger is going to happen on that show. I'll talk about it a little later. But as for the results of this match, I do believe Roman Reigns gets the Ulafala back. And we are finally going to see that losing does have consequences, because I believe that the Bloodline is going to turn their back on Solo Sikoa. As for that next match that we're going to possibly be having added, I see it being LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. I was a bit back and forth on this one because I didn't know if they were going to make this one a triple threat or if they were going to make the Gunther-Finn Balor match a triple threat. I was glad they made that one, though, because now we can't have any interferences in that one. And I do believe that this one is just going to be a regular 1v1 match where Shinsuke Nakamura is going to retain. And sure, we have seen people lose it really quick in the past, so there is always the possibility that Shinsuke Nakamura could lose this belt 2 weeks after he just got it. But I do think that this loss is actually going to help LA Knight a lot more than it's going to hurt him, because now we can give him some time off, allow him to get a lot more hype because he's going to be gone for a while, and he can come back better than ever. Now, as for the matches on the card, the one that I believe is going to be kicking the night off is going to be Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the Women's World Championship. In this video above me, I did make a whole explanation on how I believe that this is actually going to happen. I predicted it was also going to happen here as well, so if you want to go check that video out, you can. But I'm still tripling down on what I said. I believe that Io Sky gets the Women's World Championship from Liv Morgan. Not because I think Liv Morgan's been a bad champion by any means. I think WWE is hearing the fans, though, with this whole Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley story, and a lot of people just don't like it. And this is not similar to the Cody Rhodes hate that Cody gets, because the numbers clearly tell that even though there are a few folks here and there that are hating Cody Rhodes, it's very clear that this man is so dang over. He's on an astronomical run. But this feud just fell off the wagon, and I believe it's because Rhea Ripley was booked to be too dang strong, and you always had Liv Morgan running from her. It got way too repetitive. But I do think there's a way that we can refresh in this feud, because the only reason Rhea Ripley's going after Liv Morgan is because she wants that championship back from her. Well, if Liv Morgan loses the belt, now Liv Morgan is going to have to go after Rhea Ripley, because Rhea Ripley's not going to pay attention to her. Very similar to how CM Punk is not paying attention to Seth Rollins, because he's like, you ain't got the belt, I don't care for you. That's when we can also make Raquel look like a, well, competent bodyguard and actually be able to do some damage to Rhea Ripley. Obviously have Liv Morgan involved in these attacks so she doesn't look so dang weak. Now the feud looks a bit better than it did before, because it's not repetitive of what it was before. But yeah, I do believe that Io Sky does get the belt from Liv Morgan, and I think it's because she gets help from her friend that ain't been here in a while, Asuka. It's very obvious that Raquel is going to get involved in this match to try to help Liv retain. Heck, even Dirty Dom may get involved as well, but Kairi Sane is there to help out Io Sky. And I think that Liv Morgan is going to try to cheat her way in this match, but here comes Asuka to prevent Liv Morgan from cheating. Although I would find it absolutely funny if Asuka came back, tried to help Io cheat to win, and Io's like, what are you doing? We're faces now. We do good things. And Asuka's like, oh, well, I ain't been here for the past however many months. I didn't know he was good guys now. Speaking of not being so much of a good guy, we got Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn at Saturday Night Main Event. Let me be real with y'all. I don't know why the heck this match is even happening to begin with. Way too soon. But I do believe that Drew McIntyre is going to beat the brakes off of Sami Zayn. He doesn't really have the build-up to be like a 10, 15, 20-minute match, nor do I think that they have time for it to be that kind of match. I think this could be a very short 5-minute match where Drew McIntyre just absolutely demolishes Sami Zayn. Which is actually perfect for this feud, because while I do believe the feud is very copy-paste of Drew versus Jay and Kevin versus Cody, and I really did not want this feud to happen in the first place. I actually got a whole video coming on this very soon. I do believe Sami Zayn, when he's in that underdog kind of role, makes every storyline that much better. If you want people to actually care about the storyline and not think it's a copy-paste storyline, just do that. It'll still be copy-paste, but at least folks will actually be behind it, because everybody loves Sami. Unless, you know, you're Drew McIntyre or Kevin Owens. Or heck, maybe one of the women in this third match for the Women's United States Championship don't like Sami Zayn either. But as you can see above me in this match, we got Bayley, Chelsea Green, Michin, and Tiffany Stratton all in the semifinals. This Friday, we are going to be getting both of those matches. Let's talk about the Bayley-Chelsea Green one first, because I do believe Bayley wins this match. I know a lot of people want Chelsea Green to win it, and look it, man, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Chelsea Green. I love Chelsea Green. She is absolute comedy. But with that said, I just believe that this Women's United States Championship needs someone that's going to make it prestigious. And I do believe that that is Bayley. Chelsea Green, don't get me wrong, not a bad character by any means, but I think it's a real gimmicky kind of character that you can give this belt to her in a much better way than by her winning it cleanly against whoever it is in the finals. I've already said before, I think Chelsea Green should beat Bayley for the belt because Tiffany Stratton tries to cash in on Bayley and Chelsea Green gets that 1, 2, 3 quick roll up and she goes around bragging that she beat a Grand Slam champion. Plus, I feel like if Chelsea Green wins and she beats the other woman I think is going to be in the finals, that's going to hurt that woman a lot. That woman being Tiffany Stratton because she is fighting Michin also on this Friday. And I love Michin, man. I absolutely love and adore Michin. I think she's absolutely amazing. She's so dang funny on social media. But I just feel like WWE does not see her as a PLE type of player. Because if this wasn't at a PLE and this was at like a regular Friday Night SmackDown, I do believe that Michin could defeat Tiffany Stratton. Heck, I would even go as far to say that Michin should beat Tiffany Stratton if this was a regular Friday Night SmackDown where this United States Women's Championship was happening. Because then I could see her being in the finals. But with it being at a PLE, I just think it's not going to happen. But that's why I was saying I don't think Chelsea Green is going to beat Bayley. Because if Chelsea beats Tiffany as well for the belt and it's cleanly, that's going to be a lot of issues for Tiffany Stratton. There is a potential that Piper Niven could get involved in that match if it was Chelsea and Tiffany. Obviously, it wouldn't be that bad, but having two interferences on the same PLE might not be best for business, in my opinion. But I think if you have Tiffany Stratton lose to Bayley, who, as we know, is one of the greatest women's wrestlers in WWE history and one of the top wrestlers on the current women's roster, that's fine for Tiffany Stratton. That doesn't hurt her as much because you're losing to someone who's leagues above you. It makes sense. It's like if LeBron James played freaking Cam Thomas one-on-one. Although the way Cam Thomas playing, he actually might get that one. Today, speaking of one-on-ones, oh boy, am I glad that we are not getting a 1v1 for the World Heavyweight Championship because for the fourth match, we are getting a triple threat between Gunther, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest for Gunther's belts. Now, I did already predict who I think is going to dethrone Gunther, and I also predicted to happen at Saturday night's main event. So, yeah, I kind of will repeat myself just a tiny bit. Because I do believe that this is going to be the biggest PLE of the year. I said it earlier in this video, and I'm standing on that. Just like I'm standing on the fact that I believe Finn Balor is going to dethrone Gunther. But I think it's going to happen in a very awkward way, so to speak. Now, looking at this match, I feel like WWE is trying to protect two things here. Gunther and Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, because they probably want this match to happen at WrestleMania, even though I don't. Nor do I think anybody does. God, just like the Liv Rhea feud, this has been a really bad one too. I don't know how you fumbled this one as well. So now you're probably thinking, well, Ash, then how the heck is Finn Balor going to win if we're trying to protect Gunther and also protect this dang feud? Who the heck is he going to pin? Himself? But then again, would you lose if you pinned yourself? Because, I mean, you got the pin on yourself, sure, but you also got the pin as well. So shouldn't you technically win? I don't know. It's like one of those questions of what would happen if you cashed in on a War Games and there were two champions in that dang match. We'll probably never get the answer to either one of those. Let's get away from that because Finn Balor is going to pin Damian Priest, not himself. And I know what you're thinking. How's that protecting the feud? Well, Finn Balor already lost one time. He needs to get a win against Damian Priest. But I don't think getting it in singles competition is going to allow this feud to continue. I think getting it in triples competition definitely could, though. I think what's going to happen is that Gunther's going to hit Damian Priest with some form of a finisher, whether it's the lariat or it's a powerbomb, whatever. Then Finn Balor comes, throws Gunther out of the ring, and goes for the 1, 2, 3 pin on Damian Priest. Now, obviously, both guys are going to be mad because, well, Damian Priest got pinned by Finn Balor, and Gunther lost his belts. This is where we push a match between Damian Priest and Gunther, where I think Gunther wins, and then Finn's going to get help in that Gunther match so he can beat Gunther via interference from Dom or Carlito or JD or whoever. And then somehow, some way, we'll get into that Finn-Damian match. Maybe Damian calls out Finn because he says, hey, you know, we're 1-1. I beat you at Bad Blood, and you technically beat me at Saturday night's main event. Let's run this back one more time. He'll have to prove himself, but I feel like he'll probably just beat Dominic Mysterio or Carlito or something like that, and then he'll get to face Finn Balor at WrestleMania, or maybe even has to beat all of them in a gauntlet style to face Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Speaking of WrestleMania, let's talk about two guys that have won at these past two WrestleManias, Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Championship. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to have Cody Rhodes lose this belt. And no, I'm not saying that because Cody Rhodes has had a bad reign by any means. I actually think he's had a really dang good one with what he's been given. in, and he's one of the best wrestlers on the roster and also the face of the company. And while I did say earlier that I believe he's on an astronomical run with this dang belt, we can get this even bigger. Because I don't think he should lose cleanly. I think KO should hit him with a low blow when the ref's not looking and then have him pin Cody Rhodes. And I believe this is going to get every one of those little haters to be right back on the Cody train, because we know how wrestling fans are. One minute they love you, next minute they hate you, then they love you again when they have a reason to love you, or at least a reason they believe to love you. And I don't think KO needs to hold the belt that long. We've seen plenty of superstars hold the belt for like 2-3 weeks, and they are just fine. Look at Edge. He's had 2 runs that ended within like a few weeks. You could easily have the rematch set for the Netflix show. Cody Rhodes get that belt right back, and who comes out? Oh, Final Boss. And after KO loses the belt, he can go feud with maybe Sami Zayn. It looks like that feud's going to be happening. Or he can go team up with Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, because it looks like they might make a faction together of everybody that wants to beat up Roman Reigns and anybody that rocks with him. Or like I predicted a few months ago, I think Kevin Owens might end up leaving WWE, not because he's on bad terms with them by any means. I think that they have a lot of contracts they have signed, and they may not have the money to re-sign them, so he decides to go somewhere else, maybe like a TNA or even like an AEW. But hey, like I said, I believe this Saturday night's main event is going to be the biggest and probably the best PLE of 2024. But y'all go ahead and let me know down below, what are y'all predictions for this show? Do you rock with any of my predictions? Do you think I am wilding on every one of these predictions? Y'all let me know that down below as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe for more.